majority of working class Americans can no longer afford the price of rent. We're being displaced and we're having to turn to living in vehicles.
A year ago, we found out the condo we were renting was being sold. So we started looking for another place to live, and we couldn't find a place to live anywhere. We looked and looked and looked.
The application fees first, last month's security deposit, not including pet fees. I mean, it's insane. We started to lose hope and grew frantic. I thought to myself, what would I do if I was homeless? And I just couldn't believe we were actually going to be in that position. We've always had jobs. We get paid above minimum wage. It just doesn't make any sense to me. We've been forced to live in our van. We have our gym bag with our toiletries and change of clothes for the evening. We have Gunner, and we are going to go to Andrew's work to be able to shower. I don't really know of any places we're legally allowed to like sleep in the van without getting harassed.
We can't park here. We got a call from the director of parks yesterday.
Do you have like a suggestion on like where we can like sleep in the vehicle that's like safe? There's no reason why working class Americans should be homeless.
Well, it's good to meet you both.
You as well.
Now, I know you're living in your van at this point,
We are.
Yes.
but both of you are working. Take me through that moment when you were handing over the keys to the condo and you realized, I'm saying goodbye to housing. I've just joined the ranks of the homeless.
It feels surreal. It doesn't, never in a million years did I think I would be homeless. I've never been without a job. I went to college. Like, I don't understand like how this is happening. I feel like being homeless is associated with like you've done something wrong or weren't trying hard enough. So it still doesn't feel real to me.
It's disheartening because you feel like you're the one that's supposed to be providing and taking care of things. So you feel like a failure, although you don't know what to do because you've been doing everything you know to do. So you're scrambling, you're staying up late at night, every night, thinking about how can I make this work? We looked for places for the entire time. I mean, I was still hoping that we wouldn't have to do this, even though she had come to the reality, I think, prior to me coming to the reality of it. She sat me down and said, hey, this is going to happen because we could not find a place to rent. Our credit, the price of rent, there was no options. And we tried everywhere. We spent hundreds of dollars on application fees.
You're saying it's disgusting that property owners are creating homelessness just to make an extra dollar.
When they jack the rent up twice the amount that you're paying before, I mean, there's a difference between making a profit and just being straight greedy. But to think, you got to have some humanity. Again, I guess everybody doesn't think that way. Maybe not. But for me, I personally wouldn't be able to do that to somebody. How is that humanity? How is there any empathy for those people? And I'm not saying that I have a solution to the problem by any means.
But they're not your therapist, they're your landlord. You're talking about empathy. Do you have any idea what their costs have become? And
I know there's two sides of the story. I understand that.
But it comes down to, I mean, are you going to complain about that or are you going to find a solution for you?
Mm-hmm.
You can complain about it. Mm-hmm. But I'm being realistic with you. It isn't going to change anything.
I agree.
They're not going to say, I'm not going to turn these into condos and sell it because it puts people out of a place to live.
Sure.
Not going to happen.
Right.
It's just not going to happen.
Well, then I think I totally get that, but then I would love to argue, don't complain when the people you kicked out are encamped on the public street. Don't complain when I'm in my van and I have to park in the neighborhood where you kicked me out of, and then I guess we can be even.
No, that's not even, because you shouldn't be having to live in that van.
I agree.
Don't get me wrong. I agree that your situation with both of you working, you have a job, you have 3 jobs, you're hustling your ass off, and you can't keep a roof over your head. Mm-hmm. That's not okay. I'm saying blaming the system in terms of somebody that's wanting to sell their property or raise the rent in a free market, that complaining about that's not going to fix your problem. Because if he comes and says, all right, I'm going to do this for you here, then he's going to start asking questions. How are you spending your money? How did you get in this situation? Why are you here? You got to figure out, am I doing everything I can do? There's 3 budgets you can figure out. What you want, what you need, and what you can afford. You got a $360 a month cell phone bill. You have a storage unit, $180 a month. Your child support's $1,050. You can't afford $1,050. You need to have that revised.
I'm not sure that it would be changed that much, though, based on my income.
Well, the fact that you say I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. You're right.
You need to know.
Yeah, you're right.
Because you can't pay it.
You're right.
Andrew, you can't.
I'm with you.
I'm Eli, and I live full-time in an ambulance I converted to a home on wheels. Living in the ambulance cuts my monthly costs down.
So we'll start off with the shower. It has a hot and cold water. There's the toilet there, the sink here. This folds up and down, has a seat. It's where the camp stove goes. This folds out, that's where I put my laptop, 12-volt refrigerator. And my favorite part, this is the couch right here. The whole thing folds down to a bed.
We're going to introduce this other story, but what's your reaction to what I'm telling you? It's hard to hear what I'm saying, but what's your reaction to what I'm telling you?
No, I get where you're coming from, and I need to take some steps probably. When you're living in a vehicle, there's so many steps, so much planning. So adding one more just dynamic, and I understand it may sound something small like fighting to get your child support reduced, but there's always such a process to it. And then trying to find time to do that when you're at work, and then you're getting off work and you have laundry to do and you have this next step to do. There's always something to do. We don't get to bed sometimes until 1 a.m. in the morning.
Some of these things you mentioned, I have a tallying list of call that person, check out that. Can we minimize this bill? Like, what am I paying this for? We had a larger storage unit. We minimized to an even smaller one. And it's just like, I'm chipping away and chipping away and chipping away. And it just feels like, why is everything still unattainable? And I totally agree with you. You can point the finger. That doesn't really solve anything. But I'm tired, Dr. Phil. I'm just tired. And sometimes it would be nice after a hard day at work, just like anybody else, to put the keys near the front door, start dinner, get in the shower, and just sit down. So that would be nice to have that back.
The place that you knew was yours.
Yeah.
Where you weren't sitting by a curb worrying that you were going to get a knock on the window saying you can't stay here.
That would be great. Would you be able to sleep well knowing that, like, I'm not really supposed to be here? A law enforcement can come and knock on my door and ticket me or make me leave, and then the rest of my night is spending, where else am I going to park? And guess what? You have to get up bright and early and go to work and put a smile on your face, and you better produce because your income depends on it, and you want that raise.
And so both of you have battle fatigue.
Sure, yeah, exhausted.
Okay. I'm not telling you what you necessarily want to hear, but I'm telling you the truth.
Sure.
Do you believe I'm telling you the truth?
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to sneak in here and
Wasn't
live
really
in my
sneak,
office.
but yeah.
Let me set a camera up here so everybody in America can see it. The hell are you thinking?
I share my life with my friends and family, and 99% of the time, they laugh at it. Oh, you're crazy, your life is wild, and then they move on. And for me, that's what this was. And I mean, I'm a little bit of a boomer when it comes to TikTok. I just downloaded the app a year ago. So to me, sharing to my 10 followers is like sharing to my 10 followers. And I shared it with my friend. He laughed at it, and I, closed the phone. And then the next day, it's like I get a email from Today Show in Australia, BuzzFeed's calling. I'm like, BuzzFeed? Who am I? I'm just saving money here. What the heck is going on?
No, you're sneaking into the office, moving in.
I'm not sneaking. I had a key card.
I understand, but it wasn't for residency. You moved in. You're walking around with your shirt off, saying, "Hey, I'm living here. I got it. I'm sleeping in the breastfeeding room." So you're putting this out on a public platform? Well, I'm not ever robbing a bank with you. I can tell you for sure.
No, it'll be. We'll start.
Here we are going in the vault.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Where you live now?
I live with a friend in Vegas, I guess. Yeah.
You're couch surfing.
You can call it, yeah, you can say couch surfing.
Well, if your friend said, get off my couch, you'd be...
I have many friends. I got friends in South Carolina. I got friends all over the world. I could go back to Russia. There's a lot of things I could do. Well, Russia would be tough right now, but there's a lot of people that love me that would love to have me around more often, you know? Every day, you know? Don't say no, you don't know me. What the heck? I'm a fun guy, you know?
By the way, you made these clothes you're wearing, right?
I didn't make the code.
You made the pants?
Yeah, I made the pants.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let me wear my full jumpsuit. I had some I made a special, I have it out in the back. I had a full jumpsuit, but they said it wouldn't work with the cameras because of the pattern. Unfortunately. I had a wild outfit. It had lemons. It was a whole message, like if life gives you lemons, you know what I mean? It was a whole thing.
Well, you are creative. Well, joining us from New York City is Caleb Simpson, as well JR, who agreed to let Caleb tour his 95 square foot New York City studio. So Caleb, JR, thank you guys for joining us.
For sure, thanks for having us on.
So Caleb, you've talked to how many people about their rent situation?
Currently, I've toured maybe like 50 homes, and I've talked to maybe 500 to 1,000 people about just like their living situations, yeah.
Yeah, what's the smallest apartment you've been inside? 95 square feet, 100, something like that?
More like 75 square feet.
Wow.
Yeah, really small,
Really?
like a closet, yeah.
JR, what type of apartment did you expect to be living in when you moved to New York City?
You know, something like Seinfeld, livable, kitchen, bathroom.
So, Caleb, what is the average Manhattan studio cost, and how big is it?
Yeah, the average cost for a Manhattan studio, at one point it was around $4,000. I think it went down a little bit. I think it's around like $3,800 a month for a studio, which is basically a place for a bed and a kitchen and a living room all in one room.
And JR, what are you paying again?
$687. The only utility is electric.
Yeah.
So,
and if they were to double your rent, that would be really painful, right?
I can't.
It is tough out there. And of course, the further out, I suppose, the more economical it gets. Next, a man who created a safe haven for hundreds of working homeless families, but now says he's being forced to evict them one by one. It's a story that's very personal to both Robin and I. We'll meet him after the break. For you guys, you're in St. Petersburg, Florida, and I usually don't give people's location, but I'm doing it in this case because there may be somebody down there that has some resources, some answers. I think you reward good behavior, and you guys are working hard, and we want to see if we can help you and inspire others to keep fighting and hope this turns around. You didn't create this problem. It's national. You're not going to solve the national problem, but maybe you can solve your problem. Yeah. And that's what we want to help with. Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.